This is one thing my pediatrician told me very early on when it comes to breastfeeding and pumping that relieved so much anxiety as a first-time mom. I have a 7-week-old and I'm very lucky that I'm able to stay home with her for the foreseeable future. So I knew exclusively breastfeeding was the path that I was going to choose, if possible. And my goal has always been to avoid pumping until absolutely necessary. For example, I'm going to a wedding, I'm going to be leaving her, so I'm going to try pumping. But when it comes to day-to-day, I am with her 24/7. So there's not really any need to other than just putting her at the breast. Contrary to what you see on social media, my pediatrician told me that if you are exclusively breastfeeding, you do not need to supplement with additional pumping. You do not need to have this massive freezer stash. If you are expressing that milk should be fed to your baby. Not to mention your milk changes over time. The nutrients, the calories, it changes within the milk. So let's say you're freezing newborn milk and you plan to feed it to them when they're 4 months old. The milk that they're going to be drinking at 4 months old coming from your breast is going to be completely different. My pediatrician just calmed me down and was like, you do not need to feed your freezer, feed your baby. You do not need to pump if you are exclusively breastfeeding and your baby is taking the milk from you. I don't know if it's just me and being a first-time mom, but I was just under the impression that after you feed, you have to immediately pump and then store that milk. She even said things like the Haakaa and the Boonttrove are totally unnecessary if you don't want to. That being said, I do want to. I want to have some freezer stash. Obviously, I don't need thousands and thousands of ounces because I am breastfeeding and I am not bottle feeding yet. That being said, there is a chance that in the future, in a couple months, like if I wean, I want to have freezer stash so I can last her a little bit longer. This is not for my oversupply girlies, okay? I get it, you need to relieve yourself. This PSA is just to encourage those who are the right amounters to not stress about needing to make so much more additional than what your baby needs. As long as your baby's fed, that's all that matters. If you are breastfeeding, you do not need to pump. And if you do pump and your baby's drinking that exact amount that you're pumping, don't stress, you're feeding your baby. And that is the only important thing.